Hello, I've been waiting for you. You have come at the perfect time. The winds of change are upon us, and it's fall equinox around the corner. And you know what happens after that? It's the season of the dead. You're here for the perfect time, so come on. Hello, Crossroads Witches and other interesting magical beings. I hope everyone is doing well as you're watching this video. You know, of course, I've got a blessing candle lit, so please take a moment, take that in. I just want everyone that watches this video to have a bright, sparkly day. So I want y'all to know I'm doing magic on you. All right? That's what I'm saying right there. All right. Today we're going to be talking about ancestral connections. How important it is. All right? Within traditional witchcraft, contemporary witchcraft, modern witchcraft, you find that this is still a developing thing. Within folk magic, you really start to understand that necromancy, working with the dead, has been part of many of the magical traditions. That was quite a mouthful to say out loud. All right? What does that all boil down to? What am I trying to say? Well, for our modern witches, we have a season of the dead, all right, that is historically based and also modern in some of the things that we do, all right. Depending on your tradition, the season may last anywhere from fall equinox to December solstice, all right, from September 21st to December 21st. For many folks, it is the month of October, all right. For some, it is just 2 or 3 days around Samhain, the time of the dead. Those being October 31st, November 1st, and November 2nd, all right. And so there's all these different dates. What does that mean for you? What feels right? Which are these dates vibing? If you are new and sitting up ancestral season, ancestral altar during the season of the dead, I typically tell folks, look at the moon, see how they match up and go from a full moon to full moon. That's what we do here at the house. For us this year, we are doing our season of the dead from October's full moon to November's full moon, all right? And I'm not going to say we do this every year. That's what I was talking about. Look at the calendar. See how it is matching up with your own season. All right, so now we've decided we're going to do that. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Well, I wrote a little booklet called A Guide to the Witch's Season of the Dead that is full of wonderful information. So I'm going to do a little shameless promo. It is just all of the good points without getting too heavy into it. Gives you a great 101 understanding. You can get it at House of Witchcraft. You can get it at Amazon. I think it is in the links below. All right. Second thing I want to talk a little, and I'm still rereading actually this book, all right, and I want to recommend this book to all of you, and I really want to recommend this to anyone that is of a colonizer descent, meaning that you are of European descent, your family in some way was part of colonization, and now you're left with well, what am I supposed to do? How do I deal with the mess that these people created? Well, there's this really great book. It's called Ancestors, Divine Remembrance of Lineage, Relations, and Sacred Sites. It is, and I'm going to try very hard, Mindahi Bastida. I think I nailed it. All right. He is indigenous. He's all about the Tolmec, the Mayan, folk magic. Not folk magic, spirituality, really. But I want to read a little bit of this book. I can't say it better, all right? On why do I create an ancestral altar? All right, if we know where we are from, we can take responsibility for who we are, and we can walk with dignity and care, relating to other beings with wisdom and humbleness. Tell me that ain't powerful. All right. Why do I want to set up an ancestral altar? Our ancestors build and shape our identity, both in the here and now and in the eternal cosmos. Our identity is both tangible and intangible, both matter and spirit. Yeah, I'm just giving you some highlights of this little book, but I as far as why am I connecting with my ancestors, all right? You know, that I think we talk a lot about healing, but it's also brings us a sense of complete self, okay? And again, I'm going to read a couple more passages, all right? Our ancestors tell us how to live in sacred connection. It is important to feel beautifully. It is necessary to think beautifully. But it is much more significant to connect beautifully. Through that kind of connection, you remember who you are. You know who you are, and you celebrate who you are. You are stardust. You are the balanced combination of sacred elements. You are the meeting point of the four directions and a dewdrop in a fine thread on the web of life. You are the result of a sacred touch from the divine source. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, this book, and I really like the book, like I was saying earlier, because it does touch into the descendants of colonizers and how important it is for us to find our sense of self when we've been displaced. And now we're on someone else's land. We're now part of someone else's story. And how do we do that? And like here at the house, I always, for years, tell folks, you know, wherever you live, whatever town you live in, look up, find out who founded that town, you know, city, whatever, and also look up the native history, all right? It is so important if you are casting a circle in your yard on that dirt to give honor to the folks that stood on that dirt before you. Sort of common sense if you really think about it, you know? And it's as simple as, you know, maybe knowing the Native American, the indigenous folk that were part of that land, learning a little of their story. This isn't saying you've got to go embrace someone else's culture by any means. When I was in South Carolina, the native folk was the Tuscarora Nation. All right, and they had like a totem, what we would call a sigil. And one of the tribe members had given me a block of wood with this on it. All right, and so whenever we set up an altar, we always had that little piece right there honoring the folks that stood on that land before us. All right, now I live here in Valley Center. I'm not supposed to say that out loud. Y'all didn't hear that. I'm outside of San Diego, California. But there are many different tribes here, and the Lukumai is one of the tribes that was on this land. How do I know that? I Googled it. It's not that hard. So, when I got into this circle on this land, I've learned some of the stories. I've learned, a couple of things that I can stop and say thank you. This is so very important for all of us, any magical practitioner, witch or not. When you stand on dirt, you're connecting to the folks that have stood on that dirt before you. And in some way, you need to be showing an honor, reverence, and respect for that. All right. Now back to these excerpts, because I think they're so important, okay, to really rethink our ancestry. And one of the things I want to quote from this book. Identity forms naturally when you know who you are and where you come from. That's why it's so important to know our lineage, where we come from, our original culture, and also our current culture, where we are now, and more importantly, also to understand that there is a collective identity of culture. What does that mean? Collective identities among cultures are first formed by landscapes. The ancient cultures, the savannas, the deserts, the jungles, the coast, the islands, the seas, the forest, and the volcanoes became our first mothers and fathers. They are our most ancient ancestors. We need to thank them for being the source of all life. And in the process of cultivating this sense of identity, we naturally become connected to our ancestors. And this experience can heal us if we proceed with care, reverence, and respect. When we leave life, we continue to be as our ancestors are, for we are not here forever in matter. Rather, we remain as spirit and continuous transcendence. I hope I got that. Building a strong sense of identity, both individual and collective, is medicine that heals the body, the soul, and the spirit, transcending time and space. It implies a firm responsibility that directs us, telling us what, how, where, and when to carry out our activities. The ancestors are the beloved ones. Ancestors are the energetic way to connect us with our family, with spirit, and all that is around us right now in this moment. They reflect the sacred elements and our connection with future generations. When we honor the ancestors, they give us strength and guidance. Again, people ask, why? Why? All right? Why do I want to do this? Because of everything I just said right there. All right? I can't tell you the experience that you're going to have because it's going to be uniquely your own. I can tell you that it can potentially be almost soul-shaking, paradigm-shifting awareness. All right? And a lot of times we overthink this, okay? I've already told you 2 things you need to do, which is find out how your town was originated, find out the indigenous folk that stood on that ground before you. At least know their name. All right, what's the next thing you're going to do? As simple as a glass of water and a pitcher. of your ancestor or spirit folk or any that's gone before you that you choose to connect with. All right? And replenishing the water, coming in and spending time in a space and seeing what happens next. All right? Even in this wonderful book, he's going to tell you it's an individual experience, but you need to do it. He's going to tell you it's going to open up doors that right now you don't know. A lot of things I keep saying, and I've said in other videos, I say in workshops, is I can't do your magic for you. I can't connect to your ancestors for you. All right? I can inspire you, I can encourage you, and I can empower you. You have to sit up to the altar. You need to take the time to make it happen. What I can guarantee, and you know I'm going to give you a Southern guarantee, is something's going to happen, and it's going to be something good. All right? And it's a pathway to healing. And when we heal and we have that sense of completion or completeness, all right, that in turn makes our magic more powerful. That's just how it works, all right? You want to be a big, powerful witch, you can do all sorts of things. You're going to have to start with healing you, your family, and finding your place in this world, this cosmos. All right, witches, I hope this helps. Like I said, I think this is a great book. Please consider getting it. Of course, I'm going to tell you a Witch's Guide to the Season of the Dead. And here I do discuss different altars. Setting up a paternal altar, maternal altar, setting up an anima sola altar, different types. All right, and give you different suggestions. Please go check that out. And with that said, go fly your brooms, have a bright, blessed day, and as always, amen, blessed be, ashe, and H.o.W. Hello, Crossroads Witches and other interesting magical beings. I hope everyone is doing well. We are getting blah blah blah. Hello, Crossroads Witches and other interesting magical beings. I have got another video. I ain't doing it today. I just ain't. I ain't blah, 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 blah. All right. I'm going to give this up to the goddess. Please help the words come out of my mouth the right way. That's all I'm asking. Okay. Let's see if we can try once more. You're with me. I'm with you. We're all here together. Let's do this.